We are honored to have Suffolk County's District Attorney, the Honorable Timothy D. Sini, as our commencement speaker. I first met Tim in Judge Robinson's drug treatment court when he was police commissioner. There is no reason why a commissioner of police needs to attend a ceremony at which criminal defendants have had the option to pursue treatment rather than incarceration. I knew that this police commissioner was different. He was there and quietly, as well as publicly, has embraced the idea that what we pursue in law enforcement is justice. And I think he fulfills beautifully the words that Rabbi Krupka alluded to, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. We pursue justice, we pursue it, we run after it. This is just one of the ways in which Tim distinguished himself as police commissioner. Crime rates were down dramatically. He instituted training programs within the police department and reforms of all kinds. More recently, after elected to the position of district attorney and after taking the office, he instituted an integrity unit. He started training unprecedented in that office, and I am happy to report that some of that training took place at our law center with my enthusiastic support, training of his assistant district attorneys. He's involved our faculty in that training. I think the level of training in the district attorney's office is unprecedented for that office. Prior to taking the job of police commissioner with responsibility for 1.5 million people who live in Suffolk County, Tim was an assistant U.S. attorney in the prestigious office of the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. He's a graduate of the elite FBI Executive Institute. He serves on presidential commissions, is a national leader in law enforcement. Most of all, I am proud and honored that we have the opportunity to honor Tim for his courage in pursuing justice and truth, exemplified by the training that our students know about in those cases. Remember them, Brady and Rosario, on turning over exculpatory evidence to defense counsel. And he has truly been a leader not just for Suffolk County, but for the United States in containing crime in a humane way, in a decent way, and in a way that always put justice before anything else. I now give you the Honorable Timothy D. Sini, District Attorney of Suffolk County.
Thank you. Thank you to the Provost and Dean Ballin. Thank you to the Dean for his leadership here at Toro, his leadership in the community, and for inviting me to speak today at this year's commencement address. As Suffolk County's newly elected district attorney, I can't imagine a better privilege and indeed opportunity to address this year's outgoing graduates. First of all, congratulations to all of this year's graduates. You should be extremely proud of yourselves. Additionally, for all those loved ones who provided support to the graduates, they would not be here but for your support and unconditional love. So thank you for what you've done for them, and in turn, thank you for what you've done for the legal community. I know how difficult it is to complete law school. It wasn't too long ago that I graduated myself. I'm probably the only district attorney in Suffolk's history to be still paying off his student loan debt. So let me be the first, or one of the first, to tell you, you are now lawyers. There have been thousands of individuals before you who have had the privilege of obtaining a law degree in this great nation. Some of the most influential people in our country's history were lawyers. John Adams, as a lawyer, he defended defendants who were charged in connection with the Boston Massacre. He later became a founding father, a diplomat, and a president of the United States. Abraham Lincoln, he got his nickname Honest Abe by representing his clients honorably. And as one person once joked, probably the only lawyer in our history with a nickname that included the word honest. He later became one of the most influential Americans in our history. Clarence Darrow, an outstanding litigator who used his skills to defend the underdog and champion civil liberties in a way that was quite unique for his time. Thurgood Marshall, one of the most influential civil rights activists, and who, as United States Solicitor General, argued Brown v. Board of Education, lifting the doctrine of separate but equal. Later to be appointed the first African-American Supreme Court Justice. Sandra Day O'Connor, first female ever to serve on the United States Supreme Court. And being the first woman to do something was her forte. She was the first majority leader in a state senate. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, each and every day evincing her tenacity, becoming the second female ever to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, and doing perhaps the most in recent history to champion women's rights in this country. Putting aside the names that we know well, there are thousands of lawyers each and every day who serve in the public interest, government, the private sector, academia, and other capacities, who are moving our society in the right direction. At the same time, history and current events have made crystal clear that so many who have had the privilege of obtaining a law degree in this great nation have failed us, have not advanced society in a positive direction, and indeed have become destructive forces in their own right. I won't provide a list of those individuals because we'd be here all day. My point is simple. You make of your law degree what you will. So I want you to ask yourself, what type of lawyer do you want to be? What do you want to contribute to our society? What mark do you want to have on your community and the practice of law? These questions are of particular relevance today. Each generation of lawyers, as they graduate law school, face unique societal challenges and opportunities. You are completing law school at a time in our history that is undoubtedly unique. It seems each day we wake up, we are reminded that our community, our nation, our world is in desperate need of moral leadership. It doesn't matter if you are Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, black or white, We can all agree that our society, though coming so far, is far from an enlightened state. Current events provide proof. Whether it is a shooting in one of our schools, the devastation of the current drug epidemic, corporate greed taking advantage of the underprivileged, an impoverished young mother abandoning her child, a public corruption scandal, another grotesque example of the denigration of women, an assault on the virtues of diversity, the advancement of the idea that facts no longer matter and dogmatic tribalism rules the day, or yet another environmental disaster that we're only supposed to see once in our lifetime. Whatever the issue, I challenge you to ask yourself, am I part of the solution? Am I going to be part of the solution, and how? Our natural lives are but mere blinks in this universe. Each day that goes by, we have the opportunity to make our community, our nation, and this world a better place. A better place not only for ourselves, not only for our loved ones, but for future generations to come. For some of you, perhaps that means a career in public interest, a career in government, a career in academia, a career in the private sector, whether at a firm or starting your own law practice. How you choose to make this world a better place is of little consequence. What matters is that you play your part, that you are a force of good, that you are constantly striving to be better each and every day, and you use your skills to effect positive change. You must all be leaders in your own right. You must embrace the obligation to lead at all times, morally and ethically, respecting others, always striving to do the right thing, and constantly asking yourself, am I making a positive difference? You may be saying to yourselves, okay, sounds good. I can buy into that. But what does that mean for me? I'm about to graduate law school in about 1 minute. I have law school debt, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life, much less how I'm going to make a living while making this world a better place. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. No successful person has any idea. Or perhaps you're sitting here thinking, or perhaps you're sitting here and you in fact have a great job lined up, and you feel that you have everything figured out. Resist that feeling. Each one of us should keep our expectations and our goals elastic. We should strive to reach our full potential and have the most positive impact in our community as possible. So many trailblazers in our history did not set out for greatness, but rather continued on a quest of enlightenment and stepped up to the plate when most needed. George Washington did not want to be our first president. He wrote this religiously. He wrote to Alexander Hamilton that all he wanted to do was retire on his farm. He wrote to others, including his wife, that he thought becoming president was a march to his own death. Probably knew what he was talking about. And today we need not look any further than Parkland, Florida, where the students did not anticipate having thrust upon their shoulders an enormous obligation to speak up. But they did. They stepped up in an unimaginable tragedy. The lesson learned is stay ready. Constantly strive to better yourself, always do the right thing, and seize the opportunity, because too many don't. You must be ready to be the right person at the right time to do the right thing. I had the privilege of serving as Suffolk's police commissioner and now to serve as the county's district attorney. I broke a few barriers in both those titles. One of those barriers being that I was the youngest person to ever serve in both titles. And I don't just mean by a few years. So, why me? Was I the obvious choice? Did I prepare for those challenges? Of course not. I grew up middle class here in Suffolk County. I actually grew up with a pretty severe speech impediment and anxiety about public speaking and public attention. I confronted those challenges, which I hope is obvious. Became a lawyer like all of you. And after about 5 years of practicing law in a variety of capacities, I was appointed as an assistant United States attorney for the Southern District of New York, which is a federal prosecutor in Manhattan. I served as an AUSA for about 5 years, ultimately specializing in investigating and prosecuting gang violence and homicides. I loved my job, but I yearned to do something in my own backyard. So I took a job in Suffolk County as the Assistant Deputy County Executive for Public Safety, where I was essentially a policy advisor to the county executive on criminal justice issues and public safety. Got to work on some exciting issues. It was a great job. But one day I woke up not knowing that that day would set in motion a series of significant events for our county, our region, and certainly for me personally. In sum, the county executive told me that he believed that the then chief of department had committed the crime and covered it up. We agreed that he had to fire him immediately. And he did, despite the fact that he was up for re-election in 2 weeks and his political advisors feared what impact that would have on him politically. I didn't expect to be put in that position, and I certainly did not expect what would follow. The county executive then asked me to serve as police commissioner to set the ship straight. Now keep in mind, the Suffolk County Police Department is the 11th largest police department in the country. It has 2,500 sworn officers, approximately 1,000 civilian employees, and a budget of $500 million with a B dollars. I thought the ask was bold, to say the least. I had never served as a police officer. I was younger than the previous police commissioners by decades, but I accepted the call to serve. I immediately got to work putting together a team of professionals, conducting a top-to-bottom assessment of the department, and launching a number of reforms and initiatives with the ultimate objective of making the department as effective as possible. During our work, at the beginning, I was told that I couldn't get the job done. The Newsday editorial board literally wrote an editorial that said I was not the right choice. At the time, I thought that was rude. But now, I literally, as we speak, am having it framed so that I can hang in my office. The department, from the brass to the rank and file, viewed my appointment with a healthy dose of skepticism. I was repeatedly told I was too young, too inexperienced, and not equipped to get the job done. there were some dark days. As a man of faith, I went to the Bible for some inspiration, and with the help of one of my many spiritual advisors, I found a verse that was particularly appropriate. Timothy says to Matthew, "Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity." So I took that to heart, kept working, and kept working around the clock. In the end, we put together a great team, overcame the scandal created by the former chief of department, restored integrity to the leadership of the department, reduced crime to historic lows by enhancing our intelligence-led policing model and our community policing strategies, took on MS-13 and put them on the run, aggressively addressed the opioid epidemic by not only enhancing enforcement, but by launching innovative diversion programs, launched a number of community policing initiatives which improved community relations, made the department more efficient by reducing response times and increasing proactive police work, all the while reducing police overtime costs, which are on the rise for several consecutive years. We did this simply by empowering the hardworking men and women of the department, sworn and civilian, and by continuing to send the message that our job, our mission, is to protect and to serve the residents of Suffolk County in the most effective way possible. Now, the department, like any other large law enforcement agency, is a work in progress, and it needs to continue to strive to improve and be the best it can be. And knowing the great men and women who make up the department, I know that's exactly what it will do. During my tenure as police commissioner, however, I came to realize that the leadership of the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office was of the same ilk as the former chief of department, and it needed reform. We weren't going to reform the criminal justice system, ensuring that it was serving the residents of Suffolk County each and every second of the day, without reforming the district attorney's office. So I attempted to recruit someone to run for district attorney. I didn't want to run. I was extremely focused on the department, and frankly, I thought it was taking on too much. So I turned my sights on a particular individual who I thought would make a great DA, and he turned the tables on me and ultimately convinced me that I was the right person at the right time to get the job done. But again, I was told that I couldn't do it. And there are some consistent themes here. I was too young, too inexperienced. I wasn't the choice of the political leadership. I had never run in a large race before, and so on and so on. But fast forward, and I was elected as the Suffolk County District Attorney in a landslide election. My team and I have the privilege of being tasked with making the DA's office the best it can be. We've restored integrity to the leadership of the DA's office. We've made significant personnel and structural changes to improve the operations of the office. We've partnered with the Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government to ensure that we're making objective, data-driven decisions regarding personnel and policy. We've launched a number of different crime-fighting initiatives that are making Suffolk County a safer place to live, work, and raise a family. We're on the verge of doing some big things. In both positions, as police commissioner and now as district attorney, I've simply empowered good people to do good work. All I have really done is provided a space for innovation and righteousness. Both the department and the DA's office is filled with unbelievable public servants. And with moral leadership, the sky is the limit. I tell you this story to inspire you. Your potential is limitless. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do something. And always be ready for the next challenge. You may be the next right person at the right time to do something amazing. Congratulations, you've accomplished a great deal by virtue of being here today, but the next chapter of your life should be spent preparing for the unforeseeable. Always work hard, constantly strive to improve yourself, and never hesitate to be the man or woman to get the job done. Remember, as someone much smarter than me once said, not everything faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it is faced. Be that person. Good luck and God bless.
Thank you, District Attorney Sini, for those inspiring and heartfelt remarks. Will Provost Salkin please join me at the podium? It's a privilege for us to honor District Attorney Sini for his many years, despite his youth, of distinguished service. Timothy D. Sini, I am honored to present you to Provost Patricia Salkin at this time as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
So those magic words, upon the recommendation of the Churro College Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center, and Dr. Alan Kadish, president of Churro College, and is approved by the Board of Trustees of the Churro College and University System and the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all rights, privileges, obligations, and immunities appertaining thereto.